Have you ever seen an older couple sitting together, but somehow feeling miles apart? They've spent decades side by side, raising families, building a life, yet something feels different. Not louder, not dramatic, just quietly distant. What if I told you this isn't rare, and it doesn't happen overnight? In today's video, we're diving into the real psychological shifts that happen in long-term relationships over time, especially later in life. This isn't about blaming husbands or wives, and it's definitely not about sensational stories. This is about understanding the small, often invisible patterns that slowly reshape love across decades. If you're in a long-term relationship, or hope to be, this might change how you see love entirely. Let's get into it. 1. Emotional needs don't disappear. They get quieter. In early relationships, emotional needs are often expressed openly, through conversation, affection, or even conflict. But over time, many people stop voicing those needs, not because they disappear, but because they feel unheard. In later life, this can create a quiet emotional gap. One partner may assume everything is fine, while the other has simply stopped asking to be understood. This silence is often mistaken for peace, when in reality it may reflect emotional withdrawal. Small disappointments accumulate over decades. Long-term relationships are rarely broken by one major event. Instead, they're shaped by hundreds, sometimes thousands, of small moments where expectations weren't met. Individually, these moments seem insignificant, but over decades, they form a pattern, and eventually, that pattern can influence how one partner feels about the other, even if neither fully realizes when the shift began. 3. Feeling unseen becomes more painful with age. As people age, physical energy may decline, but emotional awareness often deepens. This means that feeling ignored or unacknowledged can carry more weight than before. Many individuals, especially in long-term roles of caregiving or support, begin to question whether their contributions were ever truly recognized. This doesn't create anger overnight. It creates a quiet sense of emotional distance, for routine replaces curiosity. In the early years, partners are curious about each other, thoughts, dreams, opinions, but over time, routine can take over. Conversations shift from meaningful to functional, schedules, responsibilities, daily logistics. Without intentional effort, curiosity fades, and with it, emotional intimacy. 5. Respect must be maintained, not assumed. Respect in a relationship isn't permanent. It's built and reinforced through consistent behavior. When appreciation, acknowledgement, or effort decreases, one partner may begin to feel taken for granted. Over time, this can affect not just emotional closeness, but also how each partner perceives the value of the relationship itself. 6. Unequal emotional labor becomes more noticeable. In many long-term relationships, one partner may carry more of the invisible responsibilities, planning, remembering, organizing, supporting. While this may feel manageable in earlier years, it can become more noticeable and more exhausting later in life, especially if it's never openly acknowledged or shared. 7. Communication patterns become habits. How couples communicate over time becomes deeply ingrained. If communication has included avoidance, defensiveness, or criticism, those patterns don't disappear, they strengthen. And in later years, changing them can feel more difficult, even if both partners want improvement. 8. Emotional withdrawal can be misinterpreted. When one partner withdraws emotionally, it's often not about lack of care. It may be about fatigue, disappointment, or feeling unheard. However, the other partner may interpret this withdrawal as rejection or disinterest, creating a cycle where both feel disconnected but don't fully understand why. 9. Gratitude becomes more important than grand gestures. In long-term relationships, small acknowledgments often matter more than big romantic gestures. A simple, "thank you," genuine listening, or noticing effort can have a significant emotional impact. When these are missing, the absence is felt more strongly over time. 10. Aging changes identity and expectations. As individuals age, their sense of identity can shift. Retirement, health changes, or life transitions all play a role. These changes can affect how partners relate to each other. What once worked in the relationship may need to evolve, but many couples don't actively adjust to these changes. 11. Conflict isn't always the problem. Avoidance is. Contrary to popular belief, conflict itself isn't necessarily harmful. In fact, healthy disagreement can strengthen understanding, but avoiding conflict entirely can lead to unresolved issues building up over time, eventually creating emotional distance that feels harder to repair. 12. Loneliness can exist within a relationship. One of the most complex emotional experiences is feeling alone while not physically alone. In long-term relationships, this can happen when emotional connection fades, even if daily life continues as usual. It's subtle, but deeply impactful. 13. Change is still possible, even later in life. Research and psychological insights suggest that emotional connection can be rebuilt at any stage of life. Small changes, like active listening, expressing appreciation, or showing curiosity, can begin to shift the dynamic, even after many years. 14. Awareness is the first step toward repair. Most relationship patterns aren't intentional, they develop gradually. Simply becoming aware of these patterns can create an opportunity for change. Not perfection, not instant fixes, but a chance to reconnect with intention. 15. Shared experiences decrease without intentional effort. In earlier years, life naturally creates shared experiences, raising children, building careers, facing challenges together. But later in life, those built-in experiences often decrease. Without intentional effort to create new moments like shared hobbies, conversations, or simple routines, partners can start living parallel lives instead of connected ones. Over time, this lack of shared experiences can make the relationship feel less like a partnership and more like coexistence. 16. Assumptions replace understanding. After decades together, many couples begin to assume they already know everything about each other, but people continue to grow, change, and evolve, even in their 60s, 70s, and beyond. When partners stop asking questions or checking in emotionally, they may rely on outdated assumptions. This can lead to misunderstandings, not because of conflict, but because of a lack of updated understanding. 17. Emotional safety becomes the foundation of connection. In later life, emotional safety often becomes more important than excitement or novelty. This means feeling safe to express thoughts without being dismissed, criticized, or ignored. When emotional safety is present, even simple interactions feel meaningful. But when it's missing, even small conversations can feel tense or draining. Over time, people naturally move toward environments where they feel emotionally safe, and away from those where they don't. Long-term love doesn't disappear overnight. It shifts quietly over time. And often it's not the big moments that shape a relationship, but the small ones we stop paying attention to. The good news? Awareness creates choice. And even after decades, change is still possible, through simple, consistent effort. If this video gave you a new perspective, take a moment to reflect, and maybe even start one small change today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who might need it. See you in the next video.